game. It's a rich thing.
Welcome everyone to Pivotal Stats, where we talk about data analysis techniques, business intelligence platforms, and much more. So let's go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today in the Python Basics video series part 3, we're going to learn about 3 topics. First one is how do we comment or add a comment into your code. Second, we will learn about indexing and how indexing can help you out while writing your logics. And the final one is writing conditional statements within your code. So without any further ado, let's just jump into it. Starting off with the first topic, which is commenting. Now, why do we require a comment within your code? The entire reason is to create a text reference or documentation for the code that you have written, so that anyone in future, including you, when you refer back to your code, you know exactly what that code does. Now, how do we write a comment? Okay, so let's say you've written a code wherein you created a variable x and assigned a value of 5 to it, and you then printed that variable value onto the console window. Okay, now before this statement, I need to add a comment. To add a comment, you need to just write $, and whatever you write in this line now will be treated as a comment. So let's say created a variable and printed its value. Okay. Now if I execute this, since the first line was a comment line, executing code will not have any effect on the first line. That code is treated as a comment, and the execution starts from the second line onwards. Now, in case you want to add a second line of comment, all you have to do is just come to the second line, add another $, and enter your second line of comment. Alright. Moving on to the next topic, which is indexing. Now, what is indexing? In Python, whatever value that you have is automatically indexed by a certain number. Okay. And I'll show this to you with an example. Let's say you have a value which is stored inside a variable y, okay, and the value is, let's say, tiger. Now this text tiger has been automatically indexed within Python with some numbers, okay, and the numbering or indexing of Python starts with 0. So the first letter that you see in this entire word will be indexed at 0, and the second will be indexed as 1, and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's say you find yourself in a situation where you have to extract certain alphabets from an entire word using indexes. How will you do that? So as I said, since the indexing number starts with 0, you can just refer back to a variable or the text itself and write the index number to get that value. You would have to write it within a square bracket. So I'll say y square bracket, and I'm going to say, let's say 2. Okay. This should ideally give me alphabet G. Let's see. And as I said, you don't specifically have to mention or store this inside a variable. You can do it directly like this, tiger, and then within square bracket, you said 1. Okay. And when you enter this, you'll get I, which is the second alphabet from that string, which falls under the index 1. So I hope this concept is clear, because this will help you out in many text manipulation or processing steps that we will do in future. So keep this in mind. The third topic that we're going to cover today is called a conditional statement. Now, why would you require a conditional statement? Let's say you want to check out few scenarios for a certain logic that you've written, and you want your output to be determined by the basis of scenarios that you have in your logic. So what do I mean by that? So let's say I've created a new variable by the name of z, and I'm assigning a value of 9 to that variable. Once I've assigned, I'm going to write my first if condition. So this is how you apply if statement. So you write if, and then you write the condition. So in this, I will say if z is equal to 9, and then once you have written your condition, enter a colon. And once you have entered a colon, you just press enter. Python automatically assigns an indentation. Okay. If you see, there is a space in between here, right? this is an indentation, and this is very critical while writing a if statement or conditional statements. Reason being, this helps the system identify what is part of the if statement and what is outside of if statement. So if I remove this indentation, this will result in an error. Okay, so this indentation is very important, so keep this in mind. Now in the next line, I will just simply write print OK. Now this will give me a value of OK. Now what if I have two conditions? First one is if the variable value is 9, then print OK. If it is anything other than 9, it can be less or greater, then print not OK. Okay, so how do we do that? So I'm gonna edit this code itself, and in this code I've entered into a new line, but I still got that indentation, but I'm gonna remove that now because the next criteria will be written in an else statement. Okay, so I'm gonna write else and again a colon and then write not OK. Okay, the output will still OK, but if I change my value to 10, let's say, and if I enter, then it will print as not OK. Now what if I have more than two conditions? Then we use a powerful statement which is known as ELIF. It's a short form for else if. Okay, so what you do is, let's say I have three conditions. The first one is if it's equal to 9, then OK. If it's less than 9, then bad. And if it's greater than 9, then awesome. So I'm gonna enter one more line here, and again I'm gonna remove the indentation and I'm gonna write ELIF, and then I'm gonna enter my logic which says if z is less than 9 and then colon and then print bad. And in the third condition, I don't need to write an ELIF statement because I know if it's not less than 9, if it's not equal to 9, then it would be greater than 9, right? So I can just simply say else, and I'm going to write here as awesome. And if I enter, so I'm getting awesome. Okay. Now, please keep this in mind. The order in which you write the criteria matters a lot because the code is executed top to bottom. So whatever condition is true first, the code will stop executing at that point of time, and the remaining code will not be read by the system or executed by the system. So I'll explain this with an example. Let's say you want to check if it's equal to 9, then give me one value. If it's less than 5, then it give me one value. And if it's less than 1, then give me another value. So if I write here like this, less than 1, and I'm going to say bad, and I'm going to write another ELIF here and say z less than 5, then not OK. And I'm going to change the variable value to 0. Now if I execute this, this is going to give me bad, which is OK for now. But if I change the ordering a little bit and use this line of ELIF code before this line and run the code again, it's going to give me not OK, because the code executed from the top and it checked whether it's equal to 9 or not, which was not, and then they move on to the next ELIF statement. Now it checked if it's less than 5 and 0 is less than 5, so it stopped there and printed out the output. It never bothered to check whether the next line was more apt or not, right? Because that's not what we have instructed it to do. So while coding, you need to make sure that sequence of the condition statements are also correct according to the output that you desire. So that is it for today. I hope this was helpful and you learned something new. In case you're liking my content, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell icon so that you don't miss any content that I upload in the future. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.